Good evening, and welcome to February 3rd. Tonight will be the Iowa caucus, the very first primary challenge of the 2020 Democratic primaries for President of the United States of America. But first, let's introduce the candidates. Senator Kamala Harris of California, Vice President Joe Biden under the Obama administration, Secretary Julian Castro, also under the Obama administration. He was Secretary of HUD. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of the Me Too movement from New York. Representative John Delaney of Maryland. Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont. Governor John Hickenlooper of Colorado. Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey. Representative Richard Ojeda of West Virginia. Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota. Governor Jay Inslee of Washington. But we have more. Governor Terry McAuliffe of Virginia, former. And present representative of Hawaii, Tulsi Gabbard, in the progressive group on the Sanders side. Here's some January polling from last month. Now, according to the Washington Post, Joe Biden is currently polling at 35%, with Sanders at 20%. Third goes to Harris at 15%, while the rest all have under 10%. Fourth is Warren at 10%. Cory Booker is at 8%. Castro is at 7%. Kirsten Gillibrand is at 5%. And everybody under Kirsten Gillibrand, they're going to struggle at winning because their percentage points are all under 5%. And you know, candidates who are under 5% never win. Eighth is Tulsi Gabbard with 4.5%. Klobuchar has a strong 4% lead. McAuliffe has a 3%. Jay Inslee has a 2.5%. Richard Ojeda, here's who it starts getting under the 1% margin. Richard Ojeda is polling at only almost 1%. John Delaney is at 0.7%. And John Hickenlooper is at 0.4%. The Iowa primary. Tonight, February 3rd, 2020. 25 delegates. Winner, Senator Joe Biden. Looks like the polling from December 13th to December 17th in 2018 was accurate. He won the race, possibly with Warren and Sanders splitting the vote and Klobuchar. So Bernie Sanders has gotten a narrow second place, appealing to the white working class, and Klobuchar has gotten the moderate vote, and it spread down from Minnesota. As you can see, here's the map of all the candidates who managed to get delegates. Terry McAuliffe representing the Clinton side of the party, but still only getting one delegate. Tulsi Gabbard getting one. Harris getting one, Warren getting two, and the rest have 3 or above. These candidates got zero. Kirsten Gillibrand, Cory Booker, Julian Castro, Jay Inslee, John Hickenlooper, John Delaney, and Richard Ojeda. So, as you can see, Joe Biden the only person with the color next to him since he has won Iowa. This color is, of course, represented as purple. You can see that Gillibrand and everybody under has 0 delegates. Breaking news! We have just gotten an official call from Amy Klobuchar that she has dropped out of the race. She spent heavily, and on the day of the Iowa caucus, she has given a speech and called us, telling us that she will withdraw from the race. More breaking news. Now it's February 5th, and John Delaney has dropped out. He had not gotten a great performance, and he looked ahead at the New Hampshire polling, not doing well. Here's, of course, another business candidate, Cory Booker. More breaking news. February 9th. Jay Inslee will drop out of the race because of poor performance. His climate change ideas were not able to help him. He will endorse Kamala Harris. New Hampshire primary. February 11th, 2020. 21 delegates. Winner, Joe Biden, with Sanders getting second and Warren getting third. As you can see, Terry McAuliffe and everybody under has gotten 0 delegates. while the rest have gotten over 1. President Joe Biden is still the only color, as he is in a far lead, with 4 delegates ahead of Sanders, Booker getting 2, Warren getting 2, Harris, Gabbard, Gillibrand, and McAuliffe getting 1. Breaking news! February 12th, after getting no delegates in New Hampshire, Terry McAuliffe withdraws after a disappointing defeat. He will endorse Julian Castro. Breaking news! February 28th, multiple days later, after getting bad results, John Hickenlooper will drop out of the race. He will endorse Joe Biden, just 1 day before the Nevada caucus. Nevada primary, February 22nd, 2020. With Hickenlooper dropping out 1 day earlier, let's see if he could influence the voting. Winner, Kamala Harris, getting first place. Vice President Joe Biden getting second. Castro appealing to the Latino vote, getting third. So you can see on the map, Gabbard got an extra amount of votes here, but I expect to get a higher amount. She has performed very well with the Latino population, while Gillibrand and everybody other currently has 0 delegates. Breaking news! Very surprising news! February 22nd, Tulsi Gabbard will drop out of the race on the day of the Nevada caucus. After not getting into the top 3, she will drop out. We're certainly surprised by this. John. What do you think? Well, she was splitting the progressive vote, and she decided to drop out. And she will, of course, endorse Senator Bernie Sanders. South Carolina, February 29th, 2020, with 60 delegates at stake. This will not be winner take all. Senator Joe Biden, winning with less than half of the delegates. Bernie Sanders will get second, while Harris will get third. Here's the map. The total of 8 candidates left. Richard Ojeda constantly getting 8th place. Julian Castro not doing too well either. And now there are 3 colors. Of course, Sanders is not represented yet, but Biden has won Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, with Harris being represented as green with Nevada. Castro and Gabbard have gained some delegates from Nevada, with Gabbard, although dropping out, before the South Carolina caucus, and Castro still in after, Gabbard still has more than Castro, as she was able to appeal to the minority population better than him. Booker will have 4, Warren will have 2, Gillibrand has 1, and Richard Ojeda still has 0. Breaking news, February 29th, Richard Ojeda will drop out of the race after getting last place in every single state. He will endorse Bernie Sanders. Super Tuesday, the day we've all been waiting for. March 3rd, 2020. Sorry for the error. Virginia, Joe Biden will win this with over 100 delegates. As you can see, check out the rest of the candidates. Cory Booker will get 0. Tennessee, Joe Biden is in last place, but it is another Biden victory, with Harris getting a second, but not even close. Once again, Biden winning by a landslide margin, although not half of it. He will win Oklahoma and take its 16 out of its 40 delegates, with Joe Biden getting last. Colorado, with Joe Biden getting 25 out of 75 electoral votes, with the splitting of the vote, he will land on top. Sanders and Warren are both disappointed. North Carolina, he will win. He's rocking Super Tuesday. Kamala Harris will get second. Castro will get third. Arkansas, another Joe Biden win. Washington, D.C., a surprise victory for Kirsten Gillibrand, who won with 20 out of the 45 delegates, with Joe Biden getting a somewhat close second, Kamala Harris getting a very, very narrow third place. Maine, a Sanders victory. He'll win 18 of its delegates, with Warren getting second with the Northeastern appeal, and Biden getting third. Everyone else got 0. Alaska, another Sanders victory. Vermont, we all know who's going to win. Sure, he took some damage from Elizabeth Warren and a bit from Joe Biden, but he still won. Hawaii, another Bernie Sanders victory with 20 out of the 25 delegates, with Tulsi Gabbard endorsing Sanders, we can now project that he will win by a large margin. Of course, Tulsi Gabbard will still get 1 delegate's worth of votes as a write-in, with Warren getting second and Castro getting third with the Latino population. Massachusetts, Warren's home state, although a surprisingly narrow victory, with Sanders pulling away a lot of the voters from her. Minnesota, Senator Elizabeth Warren, this will be another victory for her. Clearly vote splitting. Texas, Secretary Julian Castro will get 150 out of its 221 delegates. California, Kamala Harris will get 310 out of the huge 485 delegates. This will by no doubt potentially catapult her above the field, with Biden getting 78 delegates. So you see, no matter how bad you did in the state, you still got a delegate. Alabama, Senator Kamala Harris will get 11 out of its 35. With Georgia, she will also have a victory. This is not the best night for Gillibrand. As you can see, you have Kamala Harris at 472, Vice President Joe Biden at second. We predicted it correctly that Kamala Harris would be in first. Secretary Julian Castro at 268. Senator Bernie Sanders at a somewhat distant 219. Warren not too far behind at 185. Booker at a very, very far 54, while Gillibrand will get 6th, with the state of D.C. circled in red, and she will get 45 delegates from other states. Of course, you are able to tell by the colors who had won in what states. Breaking news! Surprisingly, on March 4th, the next day, Kirsten Gillibrand will drop out of the race after receiving last place in multiple states. Although she did have a victory in D.C., she was not able to catapult herself over the field, and she will endorse Kamala Harris, as she has faith in her. Super Tuesday 2, March 10th, 2020. Winner, Bernie Sanders. Kansas, another Bernie Sanders win. With Michigan, Warren having a somewhat safe victory, Biden and Sanders getting third and second place. Missouri, Joe Biden, a surprising victory, with Sanders and Warren splitting the vote. Ohio, Biden will win by a somewhat large margin, with Sanders getting second and Kamala Harris getting a distant third. Mississippi, man, Kamala Harris is rocking in the deep south. She will win Mississippi. Louisiana, Kamala Harris will win 40 out of its 58 delegates. Cory Booker is expecting to get a higher place here, possibly second. As you can see, Cory Booker has risen his amount of delegates. Castro has gone a bit up at 270. Warren has gone 302. Sanders at 397. They've both risen. While Harris has been pushed down and yanked to second, and Biden will be at first. Let's see if it stays like this. March 20th, 2020, we have the states of New York, Illinois, Florida, and the territory of Puerto Rico, which are going to vote. Puerto Rico, a surprising victory for Julian Castro. Being sarcastic, he has rocked the Latino population, and he will win almost all of its delegates, destroying Biden, Harris, Sanders, Booker, and Warren, with Booker and Warren not being able to appeal to the Latino population, and Sanders just getting the progressive vote. Florida, Joe Biden will win, surprisingly, but with less than half their delegates. Castro will get second. He spent heavily here, and he expected to win. Senator Kamala Harris will get 32. Sanders will get 17. Booker will get 15. And Warren will get 4. Illinois, another Biden victory. Kamala Harris getting second. Castro getting third. New York, very surprising lead. Bernie Sanders will get first place here with less than half of the delegates. This is by far a vote-splitting victory. Biden will get a very, very narrow second place at 70. Booker will get third, maybe his influence from New Jersey spread here, at 45. Harris will get fourth at 40, and so on. With Gillibrand actually getting a whopping 3 delegates because of write-in votes, as this is her home state. As you can see, Joe Biden has crossed barely over the 1,000 delegate mark, With most of the states already filled in, we're seeing the winners kind of shape up. Kamala Harris will get second. Sanders will get third. Castro will get fourth. Warren will get fifth. Booker will get a very distant sixth. Still getting multiple delegates gained, especially from New York, and withdrawn, representing Kristen Gillibrand and others. Breaking news: Cory Booker has lost out of the race after getting last place in a few. Although a lot of success in New York, he was expecting to get a bit more, and he had not won any states previously. He will endorse his ally Kamala Harris. April 1st, 2020, Wyoming, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. Connecticut. This will be a Biden victory. Wisconsin, Biden. Sanders will get Rhode Island. Nebraska will go for Sanders. Sanders will get Wyoming. As you can see, Sanders has gone up, but not enough to get into second. Right now, Castro is still in fourth, with Harris now in fifth. Breaking news: Castro has dropped out of the race. He will now endorse Joe Biden. Elizabeth Warren will drop out after just being seen as a smaller Bernie Sanders. A few days later. April 25th, 2020, we're getting near to the end of the race, with Utah, Arizona, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Maryland voting. What's interesting is that Delaware and Pennsylvania are both considered to be Biden's home states. Utah, Sanders' victory. We're now able to show the specific results of every single candidate since there's only 3 left. Sanders will win Utah easily. He will also get Maryland. Very surprisingly, this was expected to be either a Harris or Biden victory, but it looks like they split the vote too much with the African Americans and Latinos to give Sanders the victory, although a very small victory. Pennsylvania. Joe Biden will win Pennsylvania, his home state, where Sanders is getting 47, Harris getting 23. Joe Biden will get Delaware with almost all of his delegates, also his home state. Sanders and Harris not doing too well there. Arizona. Sanders spending heavily and being expected to win, but no, it's been Biden. Right now, as you can see, you have Joe Biden with over 2,200 delegates, Harris very far behind at 700, and Sanders, who's catching up to Harris, although we can see who the winner is. Indiana, May 5th, 2020. This is always the state that makes someone drop out. Indiana. This will be carried by Senator Bernie Sanders, with Joe Biden getting 22 delegates, Kamala Harris getting 3. So you can see Biden has done nothing but risen his lead. West Virginia, we know who this will go to. Bernie Sanders, he is loved there, with Biden getting second and Harris getting third, but absolutely destroyed and annihilated by Sanders. As you can see, no big change with Biden's and Harris's electoral votes, but Sanders had actually gone to second. He's flipped over Kamala Harris, leaping over her. Kamala Harris will drop out of the race after getting third place in multiple of the latest states, as well as third place nationally. She will endorse Joe Biden. Kentucky and the Virgin Islands, May 15th, 2020. And I can feel the end of the race already. Kentucky, Biden state, 40 out of 50 delegates. Same with the Virgin Islands, 9 out of 12. As you can see, Biden is purple, Sanders is blue, and the black is states won by people who have dropped out. June 7th, 2020, the final batch. Remember 2016? Sanders lost because of this day. Let's see if you could hurdle over this one or get stuck in the same trap. With multiple states voting, many of them save Biden, but many of them save Sanders, and many territories too. North Dakota, save Sanders. Same with Montana, as well as Washington and Oregon. But Biden will win American Samoa by a large margin. He'll also carry Guam by a smaller margin. Northern Marianas by an even smaller. He will win South Dakota very, very narrowly against Sanders. They thought that he could win there, but he couldn't. New Jersey. New Jersey, the shining state, will be won by Joe Biden. But Cory Booker will get enough write-in votes to give him a delegate. New Mexico, Biden state. The Latino population we knew would go for him. And Joe Biden has gained 184 delegates, while Sanders gaining more has still got him into a far, far loss. Winner! Vice President Joe Biden has won the Democratic primary, but with a nice option, with an aggressive campaign, he chooses to calm down tensions and has picked Bernie Sanders as his vice president. They will go up against Donald Trump on November 3rd, 2020. Trump will win the Republican primary, defeating John Kasich as well as smaller candidates. He will choose Mike Pence again officially as his vice president and will face Biden November 3rd. As you can see, all the yellow states are Joe Biden. He has gotten over 2,500 electoral votes, as well as over almost 10 million votes from the Democratic population, getting many of the territories as well as parts of the East, but the center of the country too. Sanders will get a second, as you can see, also getting parts in the Northeast, but also getting parts in the Northwest, as well as Hawaii and Alaska, getting far second with about only half of the votes that Biden had. He withdrew on June 7th, 2020, after knowing that he would lose. Senator Kamala Harris will get third, with a very, very far lead from both of them since she withdrew much earlier, 741 delegates. She withdrew on May 10th, but still has 4,300,000 votes. Secretary Julian Castro even further away as he quit in early April. Although quitting a few days earlier than Elizabeth Warren, there were no states between them quitting that voted, so he was still ahead. He will get way more electoral votes than Elizabeth Warren, along with the state of Texas and Puerto Rico, but the popular vote is way more narrow. See? Narrow amount of electoral votes and very narrow amount of the popular vote, withdrew on April 2nd. Warren will get her home state as well as parts of the Rust Belt. She has won almost as many delegates as Julian Castro, getting just about 100,000 less votes, and withdrew 3 days after him. Cory Booker has won 0 states but got second and third place multiple times, giving him 178 delegates, with 2.5 million votes, which he withdrew in March. Kirsten Gillibrand winning D.C. with 47 electoral votes, a couple getting from her home state as write-in votes. She will get over 500,000 votes, and she withdrew on March 4th, right after Super Tuesday. These 3 candidates were able to get delegates but win no states. Tulsi Gabbard representing the Latino side of Sanders' progressive movement, although not getting too many, just 100,000 votes. Amy Klobuchar representing the moderate wing and Rust Belt wing, getting 40,000 votes, withdrawing on February 3rd, the very first candidate to withdraw. And Governor Terry McAuliffe will represent the Clinton side of the Democratic family, getting 1 electoral vote from Iowa. The popular vote is 20,000. He withdrew on February 12th. Candidates with 0 electoral votes. Representative Richard Ojeda, who stuck around for a while, saying, quote, "I am a fighter and I will not give up until I win," getting 15,000. Governor Jay Inslee getting 12,000, withdrawing on February 9th. Representative John Delaney being the very first to admit he was running for president, getting 7,000 votes, quitting a couple days after the Iowa caucus. And John Hickenlooper sticking around until New Hampshire with 6,000. Thank you for watching Mateo's 28 Politics, and I am out.